Bedtime Stories from Sleep With Me. It's brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the podcaster who, the final frontier might be the space between my ears. Have I said that before? Because it probably is true. And there's some voyages. Some stuff goes in one ear, goes on some voyages, and comes out the other ear. There's probably an echo in there, too. And you might be like, what is this? Where am I? Well, welcome to Sleep With Me. It's a podcast that's here to keep you company, take your mind off of stuff so that you could fall asleep. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for checking the show out. If you're new, if you're a regular listener, oh boy, so glad to see you again. Or listen, you know what I'm saying. I hope you're getting comfortable or easing your way into bedtime. And if you're new, you say, what is this show? I thought this was a bedtime story, but you're kind of talking and they say, yeah, well, this is a show that eases you into bed, takes your mind off of stuff, keeps you company. It doesn't work for almost anybody on the first try. So give it a few tries, see how it goes. I'm so glad you're here. And the way it works, I'm just here to, be your friend in the deep, dark night, just like someone you would call. So the structure, we're going to have some support. Then we'll have a long, meandering intro that's meant to kind of ease you into bedtime. And then we'll talk about Star Trek The Next Generation. But if you don't watch the show, don't worry. It'll be like your friend telling you a bedtime story that you don't need to listen to about the show. Like, yeah, tell me about watching that show. Okay, yeah, here's the show. It's, it's like The Next Generation, which is so it means so that's kind of what it'll be like coming up. So you say I don't know anything about Star Trek or The Next Generation. I said, don't worry, you'll know even less when I'm done. So that's it. I'm glad you're here. It's time for Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. And these sponsors are what enable me to do it for you for free twice a week. All right, everybody, Scoots here. We're talking about Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 3, Episode 21, Hollow Pursuits. And we'll go through my notes first, maybe stop. I don't know if we need to look anything up. And then we'll roll the tape for some dialogue. Door to 10 forward. Deanna in blue. Barclay, like a Western at a bar. So we're in 10 forward. We see Deanna Troi in I think she comes into 10 forward in this kind of formal blue dress. And Lieutenant Barclay, who is not a main cast, but is a familiar face if you're around in the 80s, Dwight Schultz, I think. And, we could look that up. Well, let's get through to the open. But he's there. Guinan is also in blue, but in a similar blue. I don't know if it's a royal blue to Troi. Guinan is tending bar. Barclay's got a bottle of liquor and a glass, and is seemingly under the influence. So that's like our first thing of like, something's not right here, because that's not synthahol you're drinking. And then Barclay has something where he talks back to Geordi. Then he says, listen, pal, get out of my life. Then Riker comes up, Troi, Barclay. Oh, he says, you're insubordination. And Barclay goes, here's to insubordination. It was very much like the movie A Christmas Story. Like it had the very same feel. I mean, it was a fantasy sequence anyway. And like a fantasy of an empowerment sequence. And what does this say? Barclay to Ear Jord runs. So he gets called, oh no, this doesn't happen yet. He goes over to Troy. Oh, Geordie runs off. My notes are decipherable. This one I didn't have to do in the car. I did this, watching it. So a little bit better light. And Troy says to him, I feel your confidence. I don't know if they kiss because he gets a call to go to something bay, Cargo Bay 5 or Department 5 now. Darn it or something. Darnation. Be right there. How does the captain know? Oh, how does the computer know when to call back? Like, this is one question I had at the very end and the beginning. So, I'm only used to the speakers we have, the smart speakers, where you say a wake word, then you talk to it, and then hopefully it stops. But I just didn't know, because he was already talking. Like, I didn't hear him use a wake word to say, oh, reply to Geordie, but don't reply to the part I'm saying under my breath or whatever. There's also a transporter in the cargo bays or whatever. I don't know if that's an intership transporter. I know I looked it up before. Geordie and Riker are there. They're talking about, this was like an episode where I took exception to a lot of the main staff's behavior. And again, I'm not in Starfleet, so I don't know all the codes and stuff, but I said, is this okay? I don't think it is. I mean, I'll just be honest with you. And the things need to change around this ship. And I'm not okay with some of this stuff. Especially, I very much relate to Barclay. I think I'm I'm on time, so I don't have that issue most of the time, except when I'm late. But I have a social awkwardness. I have an inability to communicate directly and clearly, even when I'm not feeling socially awkward. And I just feel different. And also I tend to, fantasize and isolate. So Barclay, but this was the best part. So they got a broken seal on some sort of container. And then Barclay says, Barclay comes in, but he tries to hide, which I would do. I would totally do this. And Super Never's artist gunk. But they say, get over here. What are you doing? Hey, I think Geordie says, super nervous. And Riker grabs his arm. He goes, do you understand what's going on here? Riker looks back. We'll do the dialogue in a minute. CL tissue picker. Oh, yeah. So they're picking up some tissues, strong in aloe, and delivering them. Captain's log 43807.4. Everything looks normal. So they're having problems with this floating thing. What is it? Maglev something or other. It's not working. O'Brien even says, darn it all. Nope. Everything looks normal, but doesn't work. It spills some of the, in the future, in order to have the most aloe in your tissues and lotion, they keep them in some sort of cryogenic state. These tissues were transported, they're no longer in a cryogenic state, but they're transported cryogenically. Here's the thing. Why don't you just have the replicator make tissues? Can you do that? Or it can only make food? I don't know. Rude arms of present problem. Hot SD cards. And then they go to Picard. They're telling on Barclay. And they use his nickname. I was like, this is not, Picard does speak up about it, but I'm just like, this is not okay. Like, and actually Picard speaks even better about it. He says, they say, Picard goes, I looked at his file, like, he's qualified. And they say, well, maybe Captain Gleason buttered our bread. And Riker says he has seclusive tendencies. And Picard basically says, no way. There's no easy way. Try harder. Geordie, he's a member of your team. You're supposed to help him. Picard warms his hands. Put Peel disrespect one side. Oh, he says, put your personal discomfort to one side, Jordy. I said, holy cow. That's the advice I've been looking for my whole life. I'm not kidding. And after they leave, Picard looks irritated. Then Jordy shows up, Reg on the floor. He's working on that machine, the maglev thing. How's it going? Jordy tries, goes, AM, we're going to have a mission breeding. He uses, Barclay uses a high voice. What on? And he goes, are you going to be there on time? I'll be there on time, sir. Then they have the meeting. They don't have coffee. I mean, maybe they had it before. But I'll tell you what, this is another reason I wouldn't be on. I would say, wait, you can't bring coffee to the morning briefing? Okay, well, that's going to be an issue. Could I zoom in or something while I drink coffee from my room? Barclay's not there. He rolls in. Okay, now we can get started. Know me 4, pretty routine. We're going to do some impulse versus, there's a joke about impulse versus warp drive that only they would get. And everyone interrupts Barclay when he's trying to talk. Then he's in Troy's office, pacing, help you relax with a kiss. Now, the other side of it is this Barclay's behavior in the holodeck is definitely not fine either. And I would say if it's at least unethical, if not, we'll talk about it more. Also, we learn a little bit about Geordi that I know. I guess I got to figure out that situation too. In the mood for someplace unusual. So they go so then you realize, oh, this is a holodeck thing. I mean, their kiss kind of revealed that. I don't know did they actually kiss, but they go to some sort of forest type place. And then Troy is the goddess of empathy, embrace love, truth, and joy. Then they have a big kiss. Then we're at 10 forward. Wes, Troy, I don't think Troy was there, Data. I think probably Riker, but they're calling him a real project. Data calls them out for using broccoli, because they call him broccoli, not Barclay. Oh, that other dude is there. I don't know his name, but it comes up later. Then they have a glass failure. I thought it was a gag glass at first. I said, wait a second, is Barclay playing tricks on them now? And this really was the one plot point that I had trouble with, because it said, well, Data does, I thought Data would just obsessively try to solve this. Data is curious. So the dude's glass kind of melts in his hands or partially melts. And they don't totally dismiss it, but they say they could look into it. I guess they're following formal things. They got to figure out a unshielded power source. Well, there's 4,000. Well, I'll put Reg on it. Another mystery. Power system leak was going to try and explain, and something could be related. So it could be related to maybe somehow it's related to the maglev thing. Sure ride the glass. Barclay suggested the link. He talks like me. Barclay does. Riker spills the nickname. Oh no, but Picard, or is this when they tell Picard that he has a nickname? But actually, Picard accidentally says his nickname. Says, "Thank you, Lieutenant Broccoli." Excuse me, Data says bark to Brock's easy, but Picard's PO'd. And the reason I chose this episode is I was trying to get a little more Guinan. So Guinan and Geordi are talking. She's in orange and yellow, almost like a fleece-like material, a velvet fleece. How do you know that? I know. He's a decent flail in family. Oh, so we'll talk more about this when we get to the misfit. Filling in. Oh, fitting in repulses me. That's what Guinan says. The man is nervous. I'd probably be late and nervous too if everybody's on my case. That's not the point. Are you sure? No, Pat. Here's the other thing. So Barclay's in the holodeck. We all know what goes on in the holodeck at this point. So I just can't, I mean, I guess if you were an officer, you'd be able to override passwords, but couldn't there be some sort of, I mean, I guess Barclay would forget anyway, but it's like, I mean, I realize you can't lock lock everybody out of the holodeck. That wouldn't work. Or maybe they learned that lesson. But couldn't you change the lights out front or something to be like, hey, I'm using the holodeck after dark. Okay. I mean, I guess you'd always use it because who would want to see you, like, even if you were like, hey, I'm just going to go ride a bike on the seaside. I'd say, I don't want to be interrupted, like I'm going to ride a bike on the seaside on the holodeck. And they said, really, riding a bike? I said, yeah, no, actually riding a bike on the seaside. That's actually what I'm doing. So it's just surprising me you could just walk right in. But again, that could just be, they say, dude, we don't need to put that in there. Jordy's an officer. And I say, okay, fair enough. But, for me, I would put at least, I'd put a piece of tape at least so the doors would pause. And they say, somebody put a piece of tape on this door to the holodeck. Maybe I should only take 2 steps in. Also, shouldn't there be a holodeck paging system? I mean, how about that? Like you pause the holodeck and blurify it or something. I don't know. I mean, it's good because without the revelations, we can't get to the conclusion. No paging system, yeah. Jordy goes in and it gets weird fast, really weird. It's weirder at the beginning. We got Beverly and Wesley. Wesley's dressed like Peter Pumpkin Eater or something, or Little Boy Baloo. I didn't even recognize him. Beverly is dressed in some sort of Victorian thing. She's on a swing. There's music, British accents, self-taught Mr. Captain Picard sees Geordi. Oh, okay, so then there's I think this is the next part. So then they say, where's, so he says, Beverly? Wesley? Oh, Wesley's in trouble. He's been grounded by Mr. Barclay. And then it's like the 3 Musketeers versus Barclay, Data, Geordi, and Picard, I think, or Riker. And then he goes, Barclay, man, so then they see Geordi, and then Barclay sees Geordi, and it's like, oh dear. So then we cut to 10 forward, and Barclay's like, I guess this is it, the end of my career. He was really just having fun, like fencing, but I've spent Geordi says, and I quote, I've spent a few hours on the holodeck before, Reg. Never used actual other staff members, which the computer should just be like, no, it can't do it. I mean, that's the easy solution. Also in the background, Guinan brings them 2 warm milks because she says that's what Barclay drinks. He says it's kind of unusual. And Barclay, to his credit, says, I need to blow off some, I mean, only the thing with Geordi, says I have to blow off some steam. I wanted to feel empowered. Geordi misguidedly says, it is kind of therapeutic, but you should talk to Troy. Then something is my life, so I'll have to figure out what that is. O'Brien to LaForge. We got trouble in the transporter room. Talk to Troy. No. I mean, there's a friend and your commanding officer, so you have to. O'Brien, we've got some phase transition coils gone or something. I don't got anywhere to go. So basically they try transporting this thing just from one side of the transport to the other, and it gets broken, just some sort of piece of metal tube or something. Then we get a chief engineer log from Geordi. And then Picard, Riker, and Geordi are in transporter room 3. Got some sort of level 1 something. Can we make it 1400 hours? Oh, then he says, let's get Barclay on this too. Can we do it now? And then Geordi says, how about at 1400 hours? And we're in Troy's office. Hey, how are you feeling about therapy? Yes, no. Which one? Are you intimidated by a therapist? Yes, no. Which one? I like how the pink walls in Troy's office, like, I guess I would want to learn more about the sunlight, simulate, the ability to simulate sunlight and windows and the feel of sun in rooms. Hers is not so much sunlight, but it is like a comforting light with pink walls. Inner something, lean back, close your eyes. For first therapy session, I was like, this is way too much to ask somebody to close their eyes. Listen to the sound of my voice. Then there's some really good comedy because he does one breath with her. Then he does it again, like way over the top a few more times. He goes, better, much, much better. Great, totally cured. He exits. Then again, something I wasn't comfortable with because Troy goes to the bridge. On the bridge, talks to Jordy about one of her patients or whatever clients. She says, I just had a very strange visit and I said, WTF. Then it's past. Then this is the same time they're supposed to have their meeting on the bridge. Riker's like, it's past 1400 hours. Where's this guy? And I guess I would say, though at the start of the episode I was being critical, I can relate to Riker's frustration and Geordi's frustration and bafflement, especially because I'm sure that they're expected to, there's high expectations of them. So then they say, where is this guy, computer? Holodeck 2. Riker's PO'd. Geordi says, I'll go get him. Riker goes, no, I'm going to get him. I want to see what he's doing in there. He doesn't say that, but, and then Geordi goes, I better go. Troy, you better come with us. He's been running some unique programs. I don't care what he's been running. They roll up, Picard. We hear Picard's voice, Data, Wesley. This is, and Riker sees all this. He says, this is a violation of protocol. And they say, well, I don't think there is any protocol. And he says, well, there ought to be. And he goes, then we see Riker. Riker wants to delete himself or the whole thing, the program. And Troy goes, belay that order. Oh, yeah. Then Riker, the holograms are making fun of Riker. They call him yellow. Then they go, why don't you deal with number one? So then a lesser Riker shows up, a more kid-like one. Personal, the look, personal something in all the holodeck. And the image, then he says, get rid of that. There's nothing wrong with this. It's probably Troy, Riker, and Geordi are going back and forth. She goes, maybe this is helpful for him to process stuff. You can't just get rid of his fantasies now. He'll totally be without anything if this is his source of ease and comfort. And then we see Troy. Then after Troy says that, then we see her as the goddess of empathy. She's really not happy. Then we're on the bridge. We see Data's face, warp 7. He goes, he calls Geordi. He goes, we need to find Barclay now. Then Troy tells the empathy Troy goddess to muzzle it. And then we see Beverly and Barclay's sleeping and she's like kind of rubbing his head. And this has got to be tough because they're leaving the holodeck. It's like, oh dear. Geordi was fell in love with someone on the holodeck, but I need you here, man. Now more than ever. Not a Captain Problem journal. Okay, so all of a sudden they can't unlock the warp drive, so it starts increasing 6.6, 6.65, 7.7, and there's like a Picard zoom. They're already up to warp 9. 15, the ship's going to fall apart at this rate at 15 minutes and 40 seconds. And then there's like a Sleep With Me episode they have a meeting where they're talking about it. We'll do that. They're up at 9.4. The ship shakes, 12 minutes. They're trying to figure out ideas. And then Barclay says, what if it's one of us is the connection, not a systemic explanation. we're interacting with all the systems, or we only us and O'Brien, somebody Duffy and O'Brien, scan them. Okay, how many things could we don't scan for normally? 15,525. How many can this is where you really see that if you are in Starfleet, you got to be top. I couldn't do any of this. How many can exist at oxygen? 532. How many can change the molecular structure of glass? 5. They keep limiting it down to 2 things. They see, okay, one of those, this was like, those 2 things haven't been used since before, the old days. So this was before all our systems were invented. Oh, one of those is used in containment canisters for tissues. Maybe they're still using it on that planet we got the tissues from. Then Geordi calls, we got a working theory. He collapsed. Okay, we got 5 minutes. Then they go, okay, we're going to go down and scan these containment canisters. They put on Michael Jordan, or not Michael Jordan, like they put on sparkly gloves. MJ put, and then they're scanning 3 minutes, 30 seconds. Then there's some purple sparkles. They say, that's the stuff. Duffy and O'Brien were contaminated with it. Not bad for humans, just for some of our systems. Drop it down to 200 degrees with some cryo stuff, and that should, we don't know what'll happen, but hopefully it'll work. Make it so. 45 seconds. Then Data's like, okay, we're at 150, 200. Okay, one of our actuators works, but the other one's still locked. Picard says cycle, reset it, run the power. Luckily, that happens nearly instantaneously. Okay, shut it down. We're saved. Just slow it down. Nice work, Geordi and Barclay. Glad you were in the real world today with me. Then we're on the bridge with all the crew that had appeared in Barclay's dreams or fantasies. He walks to the front of them and talks, my decision to leave you is so difficult, but it's been fun. And then we realize it's a simulation. And then he goes, erase all Barclay programs. And then he goes out, but then he says, except program 9. So I don't know, like when you leave the room, does that when it empties the trash? Like, cause they say, you already erased them. I've done that before. Like it's like formatting versus erasing, I guess. And then he, something out the episode, forces out episode sand. Okay, we got Guinan and Barclay. Wherever you go, trouble follows. Lieutenant Barclay, you're on duty. No synth, no hanging out. Is that a fact? Geordi says, yeah, observe it. Get back to your post. And he says, look, pal, why don't you do me a favor? Take your attitude and get out of my life. Then he gives like a slight push to Geordi. Then Riker stands up, walks over. Insubordination. And he goes, here's to insubordination. Troy's watching the whole time. He looks at her. Here's to insubordination. And him and Riker dance. He goes, you're nothing but a pretty mannequin in a fancy uniform. Full of hot air. If Picard needs me, he can come talk to me. And he releases Riker from the dance moves. He looks over at Troy. Justice shirt heads over there. Geordi runs out. That was the most Christmas story thing. I like your confidence, your arrogant resolve, Troy says to him. And says, it's cute. And then he goes, get down to Cargo Bay 5 now, they call him. And make it fast. I don't know where you're at. And he turns Barclay before he leaves 10 forward, says, save program. Make sure right where we're at. And he rubs his hands. He goes out and heads off. And that's where we're like working on these canisters of tissues. I don't know what to do with them. Guys always wait, like Jordy's telling on them in front of other crew members. How does a guy like that get through the academy? Riker says, let's talk to the captain about broccoli. That's what Wesley calls him. Keep it to yourself. Well, Fitz. And they say, we got a broken seal. Okay, get rid of those tissues. Can't have tissues that are dried out without proper aloe. Barclay comes in and tries to hide. Jordy says, hey, get over here. Is it a problem for you to be on time? He says, sorry. He's squeezing his hands. You had a bit of a communique, which, and they go, we don't want to hear it. Like, we're getting an intermittent problem with this anti-grav unit. And then he goes to try to walk by Riker. Riker says, I'm sick of reading your name on reports. I don't know what you got away with on last posting, but this is the Enterprise. We have a different standard here. Understood? Yeah, understood. Riker walks off, gives him one last look, shakes his head. Doors close, and episode opens. And then we have a captain's log, 43807.4. Yeah, we got those tissues. Then Barclay's working on the stuff. It's like, I can't find anything that's wrong, but it's still not working. Don't understand what's wrong. Jordy goes, oh, we need more help down here. Passive aggressive too. Okay, then we're at the ready room where they're I don't know how to describe it other than tattletaling. They're looking at his file. I'm not accustomed to somebody having an unsatisfactory rating. Riker says, I'm not sure he's Enterprise material. And Jordy had a transfer request in. Yeah, I hate to say it, but I thought I could work with anybody, but I don't understand this guy. Makes me nervous, makes everybody nervous. Broccoli. Oh, yeah, that's his nickname. Crusher calls him that. Caught on. Well, let's uncaught that. He's been a competent in Starfleet for years. He was on the Zukov. And Captain Gleason says, great. You go, yeah, maybe that was him buttering our bread. He's got a history of seclusive tendencies, even at the academy. And yet he chose this way of life. Same commitment, Picard says. It's easy to transfer a problem to somebody else to deal with. It's too easy. Jordy's like, I've tried. Try harder. He's a member of your team. And, find some way to help him make a positive contribution. Get to know him better. Make him your best friend. Best friend, Jordy says. I don't even like being around him. And this says, put your personal discomfort to the side. Riker doesn't even wait. He just walks off. Picard looks at his file one more time. Okay, that's when Jordy goes back. He's like working on it. Can't figure out what's wrong. Let's go to the morning. Why don't you meet me at the morning briefing? Which, of course, he's late for. That's when he uses his high voice. I'll be on time, sir. So we got the briefing starting. Like I said, no coffee. First a little socializing, but they're all on time. Wesley's even there. Start your brains, gentlemen. Let's do it. Where's Barclay? Haven't seen him. He goes, okay, well, we got to get started. And then he runs in. Sorry. You go, okay, NAMI 5 is pretty routine, so let's do, usual upkeep on the mag stuff and the antimatter injectors. Duffy will have that assignment. Costa. Got to do some flow maintenance, too. Good idea. Ensign Crusher, he'll be helping you out. And he'll help you, Myers. Teach him the difference between impulse and warp drive. Everybody laughs at that. Barclay's been working on the mystery. He tries to explain it, and then Wes interrupts him, and then Geordi interrupts him. Wes interrupts him a few times. What have you found out so far? Well, Wesley does talk about, he's like, I was trying to help him, brainstorm. or brainstorming, but he is interrupting him. And even Jordy, the guy doesn't have any ability to assert himself, but yeah, he's like, okay, check out the flow capacitor, anti-grav chain collapse. Okay, great. So he's not seen or heard in this scene, even though Jordy's trying. Then we have a scene with Troy. I don't know what to say. He's kind of, I should have told him to mind his own business, that kid. I know more about flux capacitors than I need to hear from a 17-year-old. They say, Reg, calm down. You're getting too upset. Why are you so hard on yourself? And he goes, you don't know how hard it is being me. And she goes, I understand. You got to let it go. Let it go, You're here with me now. He goes, okay. And she starts rubbing his shoulders. And I say, okay, I don't know if I, you're like, oh, okay, this is whatever that thing's called, imitation station, whatever it's called, holodeck. Then he makes a new, the forest appear. She becomes the goddess of empathy. Then we go to 10 forward. It's Duffy, I think, Data, and Wesley. And he's like, I thought we were trying to pitch ideas, Wes. Or Wes says, because, I'm trying to, Barclay is my new project. By the way, no nicknames. I'm just trying to get him out of his shell. That's what Data says. I don't understand. Nickname's supposed to be when you're friends with somebody, but you're using it clandestinely. And it's supposed to be, nicknames generally denote fondness between friends. And this seems like not in that spirit, friendly spirit. Jordy goes, yeah, you're right. Then we have the leaking glass. Guy says, what in the double hockey sticks, too? And Data checks it out. Can't be the replicator. Totally bizarre. Unshielded power source. That means we're going to have Barclay. Can you help us with this? Another mystery. Well, I thought you told me to work on this other thing. The anti-grav. They show Riker. Go to put in at Starbase. Well, we'll have a better idea. Barclay's running a check on the power systems. Could be related between the two incidents. And Picard goes, huh? Really? Will your investigation affect our power during the mission? No. I mean, we'll shut some stuff off, but we'll have it, we'll figure it out, a few at a time. So, I got a plan. He goes on and on and on like I do, instead of saying it shouldn't. Then he says, and look forward to your report, Mr. Barclay. And Riker almost cracks up. And that's when Riker's just not pleased. Data has to comment on it, but Data realizes it and turns away. Picard has not just looking mad. He's like a little bit embarrassed. Then we have, I know him, Guinan and Geordi. Comes in, doesn't say much, orders a warm milk, helps him sleep. You should try it, Geordi. Because Geordi laughs, because it's so much tougher drinking synthahol, other synthahol. Geordi goes, I can't figure this dude out. He doesn't talk much. Does he have any friends? Guy says, not that I've seen. Well, what do you do with a guy like that? She goes, well, I serve him warm milk and let him be. And Geordi goes, well, I'm not so lucky. I can't just let him be. He's a problem. She goes, well, he's imaginative. How do you know that? She goes, I have my ways. She's like, she goes, I know. Maybe the wrong line of work. She goes, you engineers, your imaginations. And Geordi goes, that's not it. He doesn't fit in. She goes, oh, okay, I get it now. She almost walks off, and she goes, Turkham. Reminds me of Turkham. That's my mom's brother. He was a family misfit. Everybody said, don't bother with Turkham. And she goes, I spent as much time as I could. He was the only member of my family I liked. He had a sense of humor, but no one hung out with him long enough to realize it. And my mom says, I'm like him. She goes, the idea of fitting in repels me, as I said. And Jordy goes, maybe I'm not making myself clear, Guinan. He's always late, always nervous. No one wants to be around him. And she goes, yeah, if no one wanted to be around me, I'd be late and nervous too. Come on. Guinan, that's not the point. Are you sure it isn't the point? She solves the whole episode. Once again, Jordy calls Barclay, can't get a hold of him. That's when he goes to the holodeck. We see all the weirdness. It's okay. Let me talk to Mr. Barclay, right? Got that kind of Three Musketeers type scene. And then they finally realize it's a pretty extensive action scene. Really good, like action and humor. And that's when he says, oh, God, Jordy's here, the real Jordy. I'm fired. He goes, I'll just resign. They're at 10 forward, or reassignment. He goes, the whole ship knows I don't fit in here, so I can't cut it. Not enterprise material. Jordy says, I spent a few hours on the holodeck too. What you do on the holodeck is your own business. If it doesn't get in the way of work. And he goes, you're not going to spill the tea to everybody about this? The warm milk, Guinan's there. He goes, well, you're imaginative. It is unusual. People you know. And he goes, well, yeah, I had to work out my irritation with you. And it's like, dude, no. I need to blow off some steam. And he goes, okay, you got to talk to Troy. This might be therapeutic, but at least Jordy does advance it. Oh, this is where it's my life right here. Let me read this part. You don't know what a struggle it's been for me, Commander. I'd like to help, because I'm afraid of forgetting people's names, don't know what to do with my hands. And he goes, I'm the guy who writes down things to say when there's a party. And when he finally gets there, he winds up alone in the corner. We're trying to look comfortable examining a potted plant. And I said, that's my life. He goes, you're just shy, Barclay. Barclay goes, he goes, dude, just shy. Said nothing. Thanks. He goes, sounds like nothing serious, huh? He goes, you just don't understand. And then they get interrupted. And he goes, talk to Troy as your friend and the commanding officer. And then we have the holodeck scene, then the chief engineer's log, then another holodeck scene with the broken thing. Then he meets with Counselor Troy, which is just classic comedy. Really got to watch it. His breathing. Totally fine now. Thank you. Breathe in, breathe out. I think I got that. He says it multiple times. So in through the nose, out through the mouth. Perfect. Problem solved. So that's when Troy goes to tell Jordy. Then Riker's like, you're late. They're late. He's late. So then they go, okay, let's go to the holodeck and look into this. By the way, it's some unique programs. And we see all these strange versions of the crew. They can't interrupt this. Where's Barclay? They laugh at Riker. He gets rid of the alternate Riker. I guess the alternate Riker's supposed to be very short because the real Riker's so tall. And Riker's like, Mr. Barclay's going to be in big trouble. Discontinue image of Riker. So you have no sense of fair play. They go, where's Barclay, man? And they ignore him. When he asks, they all walk away, the characters. And we got to search this whole thing to find him. And Troy's trying to say this could be healthy behavior. till she sees a goddess of empathy, which is the least offensive thing, I think. Like, it's just more of like, she's just saying kind of buzzwords, but they say, okay, well, then that's when the warp picks up speed. No, it just was maybe like that one is just like a little malfunction. And they go, we got to get Barclay. He's asleep. He actually says like, man, I was exhausted. I was stressed and tired. They go, we better get to engineering. Let's see what the whole conversation's like. This must have been, I mean, this would be like one of the most awkward moments of anybody's life. At least Beverly, it wasn't there. But yeah, they walk off. And Troy says, we got a lot to talk about, Barclay. Got a lot of work to do, but we got to get to engineering right now. And Riker and Troy share a look. He raises his eyebrows. He says, I was so tired. I worked 12 hours on the power systems, and then the transporter went down. He goes, what about the help from Troy? But you, instead of getting help, you went into the thing. He goes, I can't help myself. He goes, hall addiction. He goes, I know how easy it is. I fell in love in there once. But I knew when it was time to turn it off, I could say goodbye. He goes, the people in there are more real than the people out here, except for you, Geordi, because you don't make fun of me behind my back ever. Okay, so then they're trying to figure this stuff out. The ship won't go out of warp. It's jammed, picks up pace. Now we have a ticking clock for the end of the episode. And pretty high stakes. I mean, everyone stays extremely calm. Okay, so this is a Sleep With Me episode. They have a meeting in engineering. Okay, we're going to get some ideas to forge out. All right, like everybody come up with no bad ideas. What about a magnetic quench of the fusion pre-burners? Nope. Magnetic fields, fuel inlet servos caught in cycle? No, the swirl dampeners would be frozen too. Nothing showed up on diagnostics. There were no problems in the flow of the... There's nothing wrong with the computer protocols or the power systems, Jordy says. Everything's physically jammed. Injectors freeze, transporters, anti-grav, twisted glass. What's the connection? And they're like, and then they hit 9. They can't separate their ship either because it'll disrupt because they're in such high speed. Plasma flow in the nacelles is not working. Got 12 minutes. What if one of us is the connection? You know, we work with all these things. And this, again, was very impressive, just showing how they are able to, like, I guess, intellectually and creatively problem solve, but based on a breadth and width and depth of knowledge as a team. And they narrow it down to those two things. Then they narrow it down, which one could be used in containment of tissues? And then they work in theories. Then they walk all the way to the thing, which I said, I guess you can't transport. And they're like, okay, well, we got to drop the temperature. And that all works in the reset. And yeah, I think that's it. Then, they drop the thing. They go, okay, just restart the power. And matter injectors online, ventral relay, reset that thing. That's it. And then Barclay and Geordi have a moment. Glad you were here with us in the real world. And then Barclay says goodbye to the ship. But he's actually saying goodbye. I didn't even realize this is how dense I am sometimes. Let's read through it because I just realized he's saying goodbye to the characters. It's been most difficult to reach this decision to leave you. But after thinking about it and discussing at length with Counselor Troy in the real world, I guess, in between the lines, I think it's for the best. So I want to thank all of you for your support. And you're always welcome here, Reg. He goes, I know. That's why it's so difficult to leave. Now I get it. Holy cow. That's even better ending than... I was like, why is he fan? And they said, it's a pleasure to serve. I thought he was practicing. Good luck, Reg. Says, it's been fun. Now it makes sense. I thought it was like an awkward practice of getting kicked off the ship. But really, it's like a really touching moment where he's saying he's deleting those programs. Wow. So that's why I watch this show so many times. There's always a new layer to uncover. I just almost glossed over and skipped over it. So you're really here together with me for a nice little moment to enjoy. He closes his eyes too as he goes to walk off. And that's the end of the episode. Good night, everybody. Get to get one more button to button up off to dreamland. Good night. All right, everybody. Just want to thank some of the people who's come up on the Sleepy Supporter Zone recently. It's becoming more and more important. Keep the show free for everybody. So I want to thank Andre, Maggie, Lars. Thanks, and good night. Stephanie, Joe, and Deborah. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Livia, Don, and Jess. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Callum, Morella, and Jocelyn. Thank you. Good night. And good night. Hoos, Crosby, and Cynthia. Thanks, and good night. Grass, Mary, and Fan. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Sean, Cynthia, and Look. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Ashley, Charlotte, and Karen. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. M, Peter, and Erica. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Jay, Will, and Carrie. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. And Sean, Kaj, and Kiki. Thank you. Thanks, and good night. Thanks, everybody, for helping support the show. I couldn't do it without all you. Really appreciate whether you support the show directly on Patreon or Apple Podcasts, or you support the show by supporting the sponsors, or you just support the show by spreading the word, showing your support and your kindness. I couldn't do it without you. Thank you so much. And coming up here might be a Tuck You In sponsor. That's how we grew all the archives from 200 to now over 500 episodes for free. You can, listen, 500 hours. There's 24 hours in a day. I don't know, so that's like 20 plus days. And like if you wanted to, catch it to 20, that's, I mean, if you put it on repeat, then you can, all those bears out there looking to hibernate, good night.